Shall we start the session for today's session? Shall we start? Today I am going to complete with this Winkelmann beam study, so that in the next class, that is tomorrow's class, we will be solving two problems on this DBD. Later on Friday's class, we'll wind up this third module, and from Monday we'll take up with new module. Okay. Shall we start? Okay. So in the last class, we were discussing about this Winkelmann beam deflection studies. As we all know that what are all the things we have done? That is, we have seen the Winkelmann beam. Then the principle behind this Winkelmann beam, that is, if you apply the load, the pavement will deflect. That rebound deflection we are going to measure. Then the equipments required for BBD studies, that is the standard Winkelmann beam. Then a loaded truck with 8170 kg in the rear axle. Then other accessories and tools. Then comes the preliminary survey, preliminary studies. That is conduction of pavement condition survey. There is walking along the road and measuring the distances. Then grouping the stretches of the road. Then marking of the points on the road. Then I told that the same preliminary studies, classifying the roads into three categories: good, fair, and poor condition. Based on that, you are going to mark the points. That is for single lane, it is 0.6 meter from the edge, 0.9 meter from the edge of the pavement. If it is greater than 3.75, 1.5 meter for a 4-lane divided road. And the longitudinal spacing is 50 meter. For every 50 meter interval, you are going to measure, you are going to mark the points in a staggered manner. Then deflection measurement, as we have discussed that at the initial position, you are going to note out the D0, that is the initial reading. Then the truck will move towards the intermediate position. It will traverse through a distance of 2.7 meter. At that point, you are going to measure the rebound deflection. Then again, the truck will allow to move to the final position, which is situated at 9 meter from the intermediate position. So the truck will move a distance of 11.7 meter. Okay, remember the truck will move a distance of 11.7 meter from the point. Okay, then you are going to record the reading, that is D0 initial, DI intermediate, and DF final reading. Then you are going to measure the readings. Then you have to collect the subgrade. Why? Because the deflection criteria basically depends on the subgrade soil. So we will be collecting the subgrade and testing the moisture content and plasticity index. Then calculation of rebound deflection. This is the standard formula we will be following. That is, D is equal to twice of D0 into DF. Why? Because this two, because the distance between hinge to probe beam. This is probe beam. This is a dial gauge to hinge. It is 1.22 meter, but from the hinge probe is it is a 2.44 meter. That's why the difference of D0 initial reading minus the final reading will be twice of the D0 difference DF. The same thing has been explained here. Then checking and correction for datum frame. So this is very important, as we all know that the beam, whenever you apply the load, means that is the truck load, the deflection bowl is going to form. Okay, this is the actual pavement. So if the bowl width is greater than 2.44 meter, if the bowl width is greater than 2.44 meter, then we are going to apply the leg correction. So why? Because the front leg and the probe will be settling on this bowl only. So if the deflection bowl to dual will load is shallow and extends beyond 2.7 meter, the front legs and datum are get affected. So when the bowl width is greater than 2.7 meter, then the front leg and the probe beam, the datum frame will get affected. So we will be finding the difference between intermediate reading DI and DF. So if the front leg and the probe beam is getting affected, or which is getting affected by this deflection ball, means we are going to determine this intermediate reading DI and DF. If the difference between the DI and DF is less than 0.025 mm, so remember, if the difference between DI and DF is less than 0.025 mm, it is assumed that there is no leg correction. So we are giving a factor of safety of 0.025 mm. So if it is less than 0.025 mm, DI minus DF, if DI minus DF is less than 0.025 mm, remember, we do not require any correction. We will not be going for any correction factor. So if the difference exceeds 0.025 mm, if DI greater than DF greater than 0.025 mm means we are going to apply the correction. So remember, if it is less than 0.025 mm, no correction is required. If it is the DI difference DF is greater than 0.025 mm, that is in the dial gauge, then we are going to apply the correction. So these points you should remember. Then how we are going to apply this correction? So case A, there are two cases will be there. I told right, DI difference DF less than or equal to 0.025 mm, one case. Then the second one is DI difference DF greater than 0.025 mm. So if DI difference DF is less than 0.025 mm, no leg correction is to be applied. So we will not require any leg correction. Why? Because the front leg and probe beam will not be falling in 2.7 meter ball width. That's why we will not be applying any correction. So we can easily directly take the value and we can easily calculate the deflection value. That is a DI value will not be required for calculating the deflection when there is no correction. Then the second case is when the DI difference DF is greater than 0.025 mm, then we are going to apply the leg correction. What is that leg correction formula? You can observe here in this the same formula we have written, that is 2 into D naught difference DF, but there is one factor called leg correction factor. Leg correction factor we are going to consider. Leg correction factor we are going to consider that which will be given by the manufacturer. Okay, that is which will be given by the manufacturer of the beam. They will be allotting some leg correction factor. Using that we are going to calculate. So whenever DI difference is DI difference DF is greater than 0.025 mm, we are going to apply the leg correction. So after applying the leg correction, you will be getting this equation. So we are going to consider that is less than 0.025 mm one part, and if it is exceeding means we are going to consider this term as extra term. Okay, is it clear? When we have to apply the leg correction and when we have not to apply leg correction, is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Okay. Any problem? Have you understood? Have you understood? Okay. I am telling, if you go to attend the classes means your attendance shortage will be there, and we will not be allowing you to take the IA also. So everyone maintain above 85%. Okay. till now, I think, I hope some of you they have already announced the IM, that is attendance till date. You can observe your attendance. So if you are failed to attend the classes, means you will not be getting any IA. So kindly attend the classes without bunking the classes. Okay. Next one is after all, we will be collecting the data. So if the road length is greater than 1.5 kilometer, so for every 50-meter interval means 1500 divided by 50, how much we will get? 1500 divided by 50. So in 1.5 kilometer, we will be getting 30 points. Okay, if you consider 10 kilometer of road, for every 50-meter interval, you will be getting a more number of points we will be getting. That is the rebound deflection value determines on different observation points of the selected substretch of the road, generally vary from point to point due to various causes. As we all know that you will be measuring the points at various locations on the road. That is, for example, you consider a length of road. For example, for every 50-meter, likewise, you are going to measure the BVD points. Okay, here, likewise, you are going to measure n number of points. That is, for every 50-meter interval, for a given road of stretch, you are going to measure more number of points, and those points values will be different. Okay, those points values will be different. There is a vary from point to point. So, for example, at this point, you may get the deflection as 0.01 mm. At this point, you may get 0.001 mm. Likewise, you will be getting various deflection measurements at various points. So, what you are going to do means you are going to determine the what is the average deflection value of that road, and is there any statistical that is a standard deviation or variance is there, you are going to determine. So remember, when more number of points are there means their deflection value of that each point will be varying. So that each point deflection we are going to consider, and we are going to determine the average deflection value. So remember, in the using statistical tools, we will be determining the average deflection value. Therefore, the rebound deflection value determined at this selected set of spots in each substructure are subjected to statistical analysis. When we can go for the statistical analysis means if we have more data, means then we are going to have this statistical analysis. So if they have more data, then we are going to go for statistical analysis. That is the simple statistical analysis, that is a mean, median and variance or standard deviation. Using this simple statistical tool called arithmetic algebraic or arithmetic statistical tools, which can be used to determine the mean, mode, median and standard variation or variance you are going to determine. Is there any problem? Is there any questions to ask? Is there any questions to ask? Okay. So when more data is available means we will be going for this mean, mode, median and standard deviation. Here also in the Benkelman beam deflection, we will be calculating the average deflection of the pavement, not the individual. Not individual deflection we are going to calculate. We are going to calculate the average deflection of the pavement. So using this mean deflection value, we can easily calculate the average. Then a standard deviation we require, that is from the reference point how much the deflection value is deviated, that can be determined by the standard deviation. After applying the standard deviation, whatever the deflection we are going to call, that we are going to call it as a characteristics deflection. That is the characteristic deflection we are going to determine. Now we will see how this mean, standard deviation, and characteristics deflection can be calculated. So let n be the number of deflection observation values in the set after applying the lead correction, if any. The rebound deflection df noted down. The mean deflection dm of a deflection value may be calculated. There is a dm. Dm means it is the mean deflection. As we all know that if series of numbers, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to n, we will be having the series of number. How we are going to determine the average? So simply submitting, so that is sigma n, how many number of values, then divided by n, we are going to consider it as a deflection value. That is adding all the deflection divided by number of deflection. Okay, number of deflection points. For example, we will be having a deflection point of 5, 2, 3, 6, 8. So how many number of deflection values are there? Am I audible, right? How many number of deflection values are there here? How many numbers are there? Kindly respond. Am I audible? 5. So we have to calculate the average value of these things. Means we have to add 1, 2, 3 plus 6 plus 8 divided by 5. This is a number of observations. Number of observations you are going to add. The individual you are going to add divided by number of observations. The same concept has been adapted here. The same concept has been adapted here. That is the same concept adapted here. That is adding all the deflection value divided by number of deflections measured. So you will get the average deflection. Okay, I think you have seen the marks also. The average marks of your IA, likewise you are going to calculate. Adding all this IA marks or subject marks divided by number of marks, you are going to consider. Then standard deviation. The value of standard deviation is corresponding to n deflection value is obtained by directly entering the data in scientific calculator in statistical mode or by using relation. So I'm going to show how to use this entering the data in statistical mode and calculating the average and standard deviation. So whenever the calculators are not available, means we have to use this formula. So dm means the mean value we have already calculated. So dm is the mean deflection and dx is the individual deflection. Okay, individual deflection. For example, dm we have got 1.38 mm deflection and dx is 0.56 mm. So inputting these values in this with respect to mean value, what will be the standard deviation, we are going to check it. So remember, the mean deflection value we are going to getting by adding all the deflection value divided by total number of observations. Then standard deviation can be calculated using the calculator or by using this formula, this standard deviation formula. Is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. I hope you got to know that how to determine this standard deviation and deflection value, mean deflection value. Is it clear? Others? Vaishnavi? Kindly respond. Others? Is it clear? Next one is characteristics deflection. So whatever the value we are going to get from this, that is the mean value we have got and standard deviation we have got. Using this mean value and standard deviation, we will be getting one more deflection called characteristics deflection. So for using this characteristics deflection, we will be solving the problem. So the characteristics deflection DC is the representative rebound deflection value of the test sets for a design purpose. I told right, for solving the problem, that is for designing the payment, that is the overlay design, we will be using this characteristics deflection after the applying or after calculating the mean value and standard deviation. Then if the characteristic deflection value DC is taken as a dm plus ds, the probability of this deflection value being exceeded at spots within the test set is 50%. That is if the dm plus ds, okay, I will see this statement later. So for a vehicle 1500 CVPD, when the vehicular traffic, okay, when vehicular traffic exceeding 1500, okay, when vehicular traffic exceeding 1000 CVPD. So when the vehicular traffic that is 1500 CVPD, if it is exceeding, we will be using this formula. So that is for national highway and state highway, we will be calculating the characteristics deflection using this formula. If it is a minor roads like major district roads, other district roads, and village roads, we will be using this formula. That is DC is equal to dm plus 2s when the road stretches are state highway and national highway with the traffic greater than 1500 CVPD. If the traffic is less than 1500 CVPD, we will be going to use this DC is equal to dm plus ds. Okay, is it clear? Is it understood? If the vehicles are greater than 1000 CVPD, we have to use this formula. When the vehicles are less than 1500 CVPD, we are going to use dm plus s when the vehicles are less than 1500 CVPD. This characteristics deflection basically depends on the number of vehicles also. If more number of vehicles are there, means we are going to have more number of more deflection. Then the standard deviation will be more. If the road is of lesser importance, that is if the traffic is less than 1500 CVPD, we will be using this formula. This is equal to dm plus s. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? Next one is a very important concept called correction for pavement temperature and subgrade moisture. So remember, I told right in the earlier classes that the starting class only, the pavement is susceptible to temperature and moisture. When it comes to temperature, means the top layer, that is the bituminous pavement, will be having some effect on temperature. That is the temperature will be effective on bituminous. There is a flexible pavement, that is the top layer. When it comes for moisture content, the subgrade will be susceptible. So remember, the temperature we are going to measure on the top of the pavement. The subgrade moisture we are going to measure in the subgrade content. Okay, in the subgrade material you are going to measure the moisture. As we all know that when the temperature is more and the subgrade is having high moisture content, means we will be getting more deflection. The rebound deflection value will be more. Why? Because the bitumen behaves like a liquid at higher temperature. It becomes very soft, and moisture also. If the moisture content is present with the soil, means the soil becomes soft and there will be a rebound deflection will be there. So for that we are going to apply the correction for pavement temperature and moisture content of the subgrade. So before going to that, in the exam they may ask why this correction for, or they may ask like this, justify the requirement for a correction of pavement temperature and soil subgrade moisture. You have to tell like this, or you have to write like this. That is the bituminous layer are more susceptible to temperature. At higher temperature, the bituminous layer will undergo deflection if we apply the load. So that's why we are applying the temperature correction. And when it comes for subgrade moisture, the presence of moisture content in the subgrade becomes soft and it will sink, and which will be causing the deflection on the pavement surface. That's why we will be applying the correction for temperature and moisture content. Okay, so I think the rebound deflection value of pavement with thick layers are affected by the temperature at which the deflection studies are conducted. Usually the deflection studies are carried out at 35 degrees Celsius. So at 35 degrees Celsius, we will be carrying out this deflection study. So if there is a variation in the temperature while conducting this BBD studies, we have to apply the correction factor. So remember the temperature, we are going to conduct the experiment at 35 degrees Celsius, and we will be taking we will be recording the readings. If the temperature is not maintained, that is whether it may be less than 35 or greater than 35, we will be applying the correction factor. So we will see how we are going to apply this correction factor. So the standard temperature is taken as 35 degrees Celsius. If the deflection studies are carried out at this temperature, there is no need to apply for temperature correction. I told right, if the temperature of the test stretch is 35 degrees Celsius, then we need not apply the temperature correction. If the test is conducted other than the 35 degrees Celsius, we have to apply the temperature correction. So if the standard temperature other than 35 is there means temperature correction to
ಸರ್ ಮಾರುತಿ ಪಾಠ ಕೇಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲ.
If the standard temperature is other than 35 degree, it is necessary to apply temperature correction to the deflection value. From extensive studies carried out in India, the temperature correction factor is found to be 0.01 mm per degree Celsius. So for 1 degree rise in temperature or 1 degree fall in temperature, you are going to consider the correction factor as 0.01 mm. So if correction is positive or additive if the pavement temperature is lower than 35 degrees Celsius. For example, if we conduct the experiment at 32 degrees Celsius, we are going to adopt positive correction. If it is the test is conducted at 37 degrees Celsius, we are going to adopt negative correction. So remember, whenever the temperature is less than 35, we are going to adopt positive correction. Correction is positive. Whenever the temperature is greater than 35 degrees Celsius, we are going to adopt negative correction. Okay, the correction factor is for 1 degree Celsius 0.01 mm. For example, we consider one example. We have conducted the experiment at 32 degrees Celsius, and is it positive correction or negative correction you are going to apply? Kindly respond. You can unmute yourself and you can answer. Are you going to apply positive correction or negative correction for 32 degrees Celsius? I told right, if the pavement temperature is lower than 35, we are going to adopt positive correction. So for every 1 degree Celsius, we are going to consider 0.01 mm. So there is a difference of 3. So we are going to apply 0.01 into 3, that is a 0.03 mm additive correction we are going to apply. Okay, is it clear how to consider this one? Is it clear? It is positive. Positive 0.03 mm we are going to consider. Is it clear? Am I audible or not? Am I audible? Okay. I hope this is understood, right? When to take positive. Similarly, we'll check it for negative also. So I'll write here only. So, for example, 37 degrees Celsius we will be considering. So the standard temperature is 35 degrees. So since it is a higher temperature, negative correction we are going to apply. That is a 0.01 mm per degree Celsius we are going to apply. So there is a difference of 2 degrees Celsius. So what will be minus 0.01 into 2, that is a minus 0.02 mm we are going to apply. Is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear or not? Kindly respond. You can unmute yourself or you can text in the that is in the chat section. So remember, for temperature, the test is conducted at 35 degrees Celsius. If it is less than 35, we are going to consider positive correction. If it is greater than 35, we are going to consider negative correction. When we solve the problem, we'll get to know when to apply positive correction and when to apply negative correction. Then moisture content. Okay, the moisture content I told right, which is related to subgrade soil. Okay, as it not practically conduct the deflection studies always soon after the monsoon. After the monsoon, we will not be conducting the studies. So before monsoon only we are going to conduct. Remember, before monsoon we are going to conduct this study, that is in the summer season, that is in the March or April. Why? Because the moisture, if there is any monsoon region is there, means there is a in the monsoon season the subgrade soil get soft and it will get wet. So the results what you are going to get, you may get a erroneous value. Errors will be there. So what we are going to consider? So the moisture content, I told right, during monsoon, if you are trying to conduct this experiment or trying to conduct this test, means it will be affecting the subgrade soil. Okay, the subgrade becomes soft and you'll be getting a error in the values. That's why this experiment or this test is conducted before monsoon. Pre-monsoon period you are going to consider. And the BBD studies are carried out any convenient period, and the moisture content of the subgrade soil during the deflection studies is determined. Before starting the BBD studies, we will be determining the moisture content in the field only using a rapid moisture meter. Okay, using a rapid moisture meter or a carbide method. Moisture meter or using carbide method. Okay, using carbide method, we will be determining the moisture content of the soil subgrade. based on the extensive deflection studies, they have conducted so many deflection studies before suggesting this charts. So during various seasons, they have conducted during various seasons in different regions of the country. Moisture correction factor charts have been developed. So they have developed a moisture correction chart which are available in IRC 81. So remember, in the IRC 81 1997, the moisture correction charts are available for the given soil subgrade condition. Then the characteristics deflection value DC for the selected stretch is multiplied by the correction factor to obtain corrected value. So the temperature is a additive factor. The moisture content is a multiplicative in nature. So remember, the temperature correction is additive or subtractive in nature. The moisture content is multiplicative in nature. This is the question you may get in competitive exams. Okay, there will be one compulsory question on this BBD studies in the competitive exam. If you go for any engineering related exams, that is civil engineering related, there this question is compulsory. A question on BBD studies. They may ask that whether the temperature is multiplicative factor or additive factor or subtractive factor. Here we should know that temperature is additive factor, additive correction or subtractive correction, but this moisture correction is a multiplicative correction. So whatever the deflection value we are going to get after temperature correction, we are going to multiply that corrected temperature with the moisture correction factor, and you are going to get the final deflection. So this is DCM. This is the final deflection value which will be utilized for design purpose. Okay, so which will be used to design the overlay. Overlay means an extra layer which will be provided over the existing bituminous layer. To strengthen the existing pavement, we will be providing this overlay. So remember, overlay means providing or strengthening the existing bituminous layer with the other bituminous layer, with the existing pavement. Okay, is it clear? Temperature correction and moisture correction. Is it clear? Kindly respond. Kindly respond. You can unmute yourself or you can leave a message in the chat section also, so that I get to know whether it is understood or not. Okay. So I told right, the charts are developed for moisture content. You can observe here along the y-axis it is a moisture factor. Wait a minute, I'll change the pointer color. Now you can observe here the moisture correction factor along y-axis and moisture content of the subgrade along x-axis, and you can observe here also the rainfall condition. If the rainfall is less than 1300 mm and the soil condition is sandy soil or gravelly soil, so we can go for this. For example, if the moisture content is 6, this will be the point where it will cut the curve. So the moisture correction factor is 1.08. Okay, when we solving the problem, we will get to know these are the moisture correction factor. That is when the rainfall is less than 1300 mm. When the rainfall is greater than 1300 mm, we have to use this chart. In the exam also, they may give the chart or they may directly give the moisture content. That is the moisture correction value. So remember, if the rainfall is less than 1300 mm, we are going to use the first chart, and if the rainfall is greater than 1300 mm, we are going to use second chart. So remember, if the rainfall less than 1300, first chart, greater than 1300, the second chart will be used. Similarly, the plasticity, okay, for clay soils, if the plasticity and rainfall you can observe. For this is for a sandy soil and gravel, for sand and gravel soils. Okay, this is for sand and gravel. These two charts will be available. That is rainfall is fixed for 1300. Then this is for a clayey soil. Okay, clayey less than PI 15. That is PI less than 15. And rainfall you can observe here less than 1300 mm. Then this is for clayey soil with PI less than, and rainfall is greater than 1300. This is also for clayey soil. I will be providing this chart. Okay, nothing to worry. So clay less than 15. Clay PA less than 15, rainfall. Based on this, you are going to get the correction for moisture content. Then for same clay soil, PI greater than 15. For same clay soil, PI greater than 15. So rainfall, the same thing, rainfall less than or equal to 1300 mm, greater than or equal to 1300 mm. Is it clear? I understood. So from this graph, for example, the soil will be having a moisture content of 7. So there is a line which cut the curve at this point. So projecting that point to y-axis, you will get a moisture correction factor. Okay, remember, if the moisture content is 7%, you are going to, the x-axis is plotted in the x-axis contains moisture content. The value 7 will be there. If the moisture content is 7, you project the line upwards. It will cut the point at a point on the curve at this point, or wherever I mark at this point, it is going to cut. Then project that line towards y-axis. That will be your moisture correction factor. Okay, is it clear? How to apply the moisture? How to get this moisture correction factor? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So you have to carefully check the graph whether it is for sand and gravel or clay soil. In that clay, there are two are there, PI less than 15, PI greater than 15. You have to consider. Okay, this is for PI less than 15. And this is for PI greater than 15. You are going to consider. Then comes the design of flexible pavement. There is a design of overlay thickness using a BBD data. So remember, whenever we are conducting this BBD survey means BBD studies means we will be using that value for designing the overlay. I told right. Overlay means the strengthening of existing pavement. So strengthening. So you can make a note anywhere. Strengthening of existing pavement, with the other layers. Okay, this we are going to call it as a overlay. So the process of strengthening of existing pavement with other layers, that we can call it as a overlay. So the main function of this BBD study is to get the deflection value, which will be utilized in the overlay design. So this is very simple. They may ask a problem on this overlay method. There is a design of overlay for 16 marks or 12 marks they will ask. Okay, the full one question you are going to get it from the BBD. What are the factors you have to consider in the design of flexible pavement? We have considered the traffic as a factor, then load, V load as a factor, then environmental factors we have considered, traffic factors. Here also for designing the overlay, we will be considering only two factors. One is stability of existing pavement, then anticipated traffic in terms of cumulative standard axles. So stability, the strength of the existing pavement we are going to determine. How we are going to determine the strength of the pavement? As we all know that the BBD studies is utilized to determine the strength of the pavement or stability of the pavement. So the stability of existing pavement can be determined using a BBD study. So the BBD study. So remember, for overlay, we will be considering two factors: stability of existing pavement and anticipated traffic. that is future traffic what we are going to get it. So the stability of the payment we can easily get from the BBD studies. That is by conducting the BBD studies, we are going to get the deflection characteristic deflection that will be providing the stability of the payment. Then the stability of the payment structure under prevailing condition of the temperature, subgrade moisture is expressed as a characteristic deflection of the payment. I told right, after applying a temperature correction and moisture correction, whatever the deflection we are going to get, that deflection we are going to call it as a characteristics deflection. So the strength or the stability of the payment we are going to get from this characteristics deflection. After the applying the corrected characteristic deflection is determined, and this is the standard deflection at 35 and higher subgrade moisture content. So whatever the deflection what we are going to get after temperature correction and moisture correction, that will be the corrected characteristics deflection, which will be used for designing the overlay. For designing the overlay, we will be using this corrected characteristics. So remember, in the overlay design, you have to remember 2 points. One is stability of the payment structure, and another one is the anticipated traffic in terms of cumulative standard axles. So I think you have gone through this, right? The design traffic is calculated using this formula. The same formula we will be adapting. That is the values also the same. The F value, that is the lane distribution factor, and all values. That is the traffic will be given, the lane distribution, and the vehicle damage factor. Everything will be given. Simply inputting all the values, and you are going to get this in terms of cumulative standard axles, in terms of million standard axles we are going to represent. So the design traffic in terms of cumulative number of standard axles in the lane carrying maximum traffic during the design life of this can be computed by using this formula. So the same formula what we have adapted in the flexible payment design, you are going to adapt. Then as we all know that N is the number of axles, then A is the initial traffic per day, then D is the lane distribution factor, F is the vehicle damage factor, N is the design life of overlay. There we have considered design life of the payment, but here it is a design life of overlay. Then R value is 7.5%. That is the rate of annual growth. We are going to consider it as 7.5%. So remember, the cumulative standard axles is represented using this formula. The same formula what we have adapted in our design of flexible payment. Then how we are going to determine the thickness means we can observe here along the x-axis there is characteristics deflection. The curves indicate cumulative standard axles in terms of million standard axles. The curve indicates the traffic. You can observe here the curve indicates the traffic, and you can observe the overlay thickness. Okay, bituminous macadam overlay you can observe. For example, the data collected during the BBD studies are analyzed, and the value of mean deflection value, standard deviation, and DC are determined. I told right, after getting the values, first you are going to analyze using statistical tools. That is a mean, standard deviation, and variance. You are going to determine the modified value of characteristic deflection. That is a DCM. I told that DCM, that is after applying the temperature and moisture correction with the known values of LDF, EDF, and all those things. You are going to determine cumulative standard axles. Cumulative standard axles you are going to determine using the cumulative standard axles and corrected characteristics deflection. You are going to determine the thickness of overlay. You are going to determine the thickness of overlay in terms of bituminous macadam. We can observe here, not in terms of bituminous concrete, it is bituminous macadam. So bituminous macadam means it is a open graded premix carpet. Okay, open graded bituminous mix. So it is a open graded bituminous mix we are going to convert. So we are going to get the layer thickness as overlay thickness as open graded bituminous mixes, and by converting the open graded bituminous mixes into other layer, there are some conversion factors. This should be remembered by you. There is 10 mm thick bituminous macadam is equal to 15 mm thick granular subbase. Granular base like WMM. Then 10 mm thick bituminous macadam is equal to 7 mm thick dense graded bituminous macadam. So, for example, we have got a characteristics deflection of 2. How we are going to determine this? I am going to show. We have got 2 mm as a characteristics deflection, and we have got 10 as a standard MSA. Okay, 10 as standard MSA. For a 2 mm deflection, draw a line here. It will cut the curve of 10 here. So at this point, it will cut the curve here. So project that line towards the y-axis. So you will get 10, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60. So you will get around 165 mm. Okay, 165 mm will be the thickness of the overlay. So for the given characteristics deflection and for given traffic, we are going to determine the thickness of overlay in terms of bituminous macadam. And after that, the bituminous macadam, I told right, 10 mm thick bituminous macadam is equal to 7 mm thick dense granite bituminous mixes like DBM, dense bituminous macadam or bituminous concrete. Now you are going to convert that value. Okay, is it clear? Is it understood how to get the overlay thickness? When we solve the problem, we will get to know. Okay, when I told the theory portion like this, it will be difficult to understand. When we solve the problem from the starting, that is given values, calculating the standard deviation, then obtaining the corrected deflection, then obtaining the moisture correction and temperature correction. After that, determining the thickness, we will get to know. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Is it clear? So this completes the theory portion of BBD studies. I'll stop here. We will continue the solving of problems. That is from next class. That is tomorrow's class. We will be solving the problems on this BBD studies. Okay, and we'll wind up within Wednesday, and we'll start with falling weight deflectometer and ground penetration radar. Okay, is it clear? Any doubts in this? Any doubts?
No, sir.
One announcement is there. That is in the assignment, the question 1, take the clear gap between the tires as 9 centimeter. It has been taken as made it as 90. So consider that as 9 centimeter. Okay, not 90 centimeter. Take it as 9 centimeter and plot the graph. Okay, this time everyone should plot the graph. Without graph, I'm going to put 0. So plot the graph. Okay. Okay, take a clear gap as 9 centimeter, not 90 centimeter. Is it clear? So I will stop the session. So we will be continuing in tomorrow's class. That is problems on BBD study. So we'll continue in the next class. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.